Beans, 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 beans. We're not vegetarians, but the lack of a freezer and a very small fridge means that we often eat like we are. Beans are a great source of protein, and when you're talking about dried ones, they're extremely boat-friendly in terms of storage space. But what do you do with beans? Hi, I'm Nika Waters, and welcome to the Boat Galley podcast. Today I'm sharing one of our favorite recipes on board, which involve using certain kinds of lentils, not the very ubiquitous brown ones you find everywhere. Today's episode of the Boat Galley podcast is sponsored by MantisMarine.com, maker of the Mantis Anchor, now available in models with and without a roll bar. Proven to set reliably in the most challenging bottoms, the Mantis Anchor digs like no other, making anchoring safer and boating more enjoyable. Mantis Marine brings to market practical, durable, and affordable marine products, including anchoring gear, scuba diving accessories, rechargeable waterproof headlamp for hands-free lighting, and solar charging navigation lights. Visit MantisMarine.com and see for yourself. Our Mantis Anchor did a great job in the 30 to 40 knot winds we've had these last couple of days. It's very nice to sleep well because we know that we're hooked well to the bottom. Thanks, Mantis, for making great gear. All right, back to the whole conversation about beans. And what do we make? In the last couple of days, we've run the gamut of the beans that we have on board. We've made things like doubles, which was our part of our Thanksgiving potluck that we did. We've had black bean and pumpkin tacos, red lentil soup today for lunch, and for tomorrow night, we're going to do sloppy joes, the lentil version of sloppy joes. Lentils come in multiple varieties. There are the fall apart into almost cream red lentils. There are the ubiquitous because you can find them everywhere, even in the smallest magasin in the Tuamotus, brown lentils. And then there are the small ones that hold their shape when they're cooked. Black lentils, lentils depuis, pardina lentils, beluga lentils. And I'm also sure that there are lots of many other varieties of lentils, but these are the ones that I'm very, very familiar with. All of them have a place on the boat, and each serves a slightly different purpose, other than just being delicious and easy to prepare. But today's post is about that last kind of lentil, the ones that hold their shape. I have been hoping, by the way, to be able to find the French version of these, which are the lentils depuis. I figured I'd be able to find them easily in French Polynesia. Not so far. Maybe when we get to Tahiti. But so far, I've been very, very happy that I stocked up on my pardina lentils before we left Panama. The joy with these hold their shape lentils is that they're generally smaller. They have that still amazing lentil flavor, and each one is a little bit different. But that shape holding magic means that they're a fairly good stand-in texture-wise for ground beef. And I don't know about you, but a large part of what I love about a good spaghetti sauce or chili or sloppy joes is the texture. And that ground beef or ground turkey just has that little kind of nubbly texture that adds so much to it. And yes, we could carry TVP, Texturized Vegetable Protein, to even more closely mimic that mouthfeel, but I can buy these lentils for a cheaper price and the ingredient list is far simpler. Sign me up. So what follows is the recipe that I riff off of, because depending on what I've got at my disposal vegetable-wise, the exact numbers of things and what goes into it changes every time, other than the onions and the garlic and the corn and the lentils. Everything else is pretty much up for debate. But it's a well-loved dish. It's well-loved aboard, it's well-loved within my family, and it's well-loved even by skeptical bean haters. My favorite story around this dish is when I was cooking for a crowd of about 40 people up at the lake house. My brother often has his fraternity brothers and their families come, and I often get to cook for everybody, which I love to do. But there's a seating for kids, and then there's a seating for adults, and a friend wandered into the kitchen because he was intrigued by the smells coming out of it to ask me what I was making. Sloppy joes, I said, and he watched me pour lentils into the pan. And he shook his head. He said, "My kids won't eat that. They hate beans." I just smiled, kept right on cooking. And later, during kid dinner, his daughter came in to ask for seconds. It might even have been thirds. This chili is so amazing. Okay, it's not quite chili, but the texture fooled even that picky eater. You can, of course, make this with ground beef or ground turkey, or probably texturized vegetable protein. It's still delicious. So the recipe for Sloppy Joes, and there is a link in the show notes to a quick blog post that I did on it with that recipe that's right there. 2 to 3 cups of cooked pardina lentils, or a pound plus of ground beef or ground turkey. And this serves about 4 people, maybe 5, depends on how hungry people are. You need about a tablespoon of vegetable oil or olive oil, depending on how you like to cook. A large onion that you've minced fine. 2 red or yellow peppers, diced up. A zucchini, cut into small dice. Maybe carrots. Maybe, I don't know what else. But there you go. Just take your vegetables and do a bunch of them. That's all that matters. 2 garlic cloves. I usually do 4 or 5, pressed or minced. 2 cups of spaghetti sauce. The stuff from a jar is just fine. Or palmy crushed tomatoes is also a great addition. If I do the crushed tomatoes, I usually will add a little bit more basil and oregano. About 1/4 cup of barbecue sauce. A teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce, which is totally optional. And 2 cups of frozen corn or a can of corn. In a large saute pan, you're going to heat the oil until it shimmers. Add in the onions and cook them until they start to get soft. Takes about 5 minutes maybe. Stir in the peppers or the carrots or both. Cook for an additional couple of minutes. Stir in the zucchini and cook for a couple of minutes. I leave the zucchini till later because it doesn't take as much time to cook, and I like it to have a little bit of texture still. Add in the garlic. Stir it to distribute it evenly and cook it for about a minute or until you can start to smell it. And I add the garlic last so that it doesn't overcook. Pour in the spaghetti sauce, the barbecue sauce, the Worcestershire sauce, stir it all to combine. Pour in the lentils, stir them, add in the corn, stir it, cover and cook for 5 minutes. Taste to adjust your salt and pepper. If you like a looser sauce, you want to add more liquid of some sort. If you've added more vegetables, you might need to add a little bit more liquid. You might want it spicier. You might want to serve a hot sauce on the side. Might want to serve shredded cheese on the side. All kinds of options. But I like to serve it on top of bread that I've toasted English muffins, baked potatoes, toasted hamburger bun. It makes a great taco filling. There are so many things that you can do with this incredible lentil sloppy joe recipe that works with all kinds of pantry ingredients, which I love to have on the boat. I can't wait to share an Anchorage with you. Maybe you'll come over and I'll make lentil sloppy joes. In any case, we'll be able to toast to our incredible good fortune at being able to live this amazing lifestyle. Thank you so much for listening to the Boat Galley podcast. We love hearing from our listeners. We love it when you don't forget to subscribe. We love it when you share us with your friends. The Boat Galley is all about making boat life better. And we hope we've done that for you today. Have the most spectacular week.